Good morning, y'all.
Good morning. How are you doing?
Good morning.
I'm good. How are y'all?
Good. Closer to Friday.
Yeah, almost there.
Hey, Lori.
Hello.
Hey, it's Lieutenant Easty. I'm having an issue with my laptop trying to get in on the Teams thing. So just bear with me. I might have to do it by phone.
Problem.
All right, Lori, looks like I'm in on the computer.
Awesome. That's great. Did you want to go ahead and get started? I can start with roll call.
Yeah, we can go ahead and get started.
Perfect. Hello, everyone. My name is Lori Paleo with JMT. Just to let everyone know, this meeting is being recorded, and if you are not speaking, please mute your mics. So going down the list, Susan Boda. You're muted, Susan.
Hey, good morning. Happy to be with you. I'm with Benish.
Brenton Mosher.
Brenton Mosher with USF Qatar.
Brian Andrews.
I'm here.
And where are you with?
Oh, sorry. St. Pete PD.
Perfect. Mark Easty.
Mark Easty, Pinellas County Sheriff's Office, and Pinellas CTST Share.
Eric Henry.
Good morning, y'all. Eric Henry with FDOT District 7 Traffic Safety.
Jim Hartwell.
Good morning, Jim Hartwell. I'm an engineering law enforcement liaison.
Kathy Ruverak.
I'm with Freeman Patterson.
Mashid Ariste.
Good morning, Mashid Ariste, American Quality Consultants, FDOT Safety Ambassador.
Kathy Gadamer.
Kathy Gadamer, Community Development Project Manager, Dunedin.
Matthew Beaumonte.
Hey guys, good morning. Matt Belmonte with Gresham Smith.
Daniel Negersmith.
Dan Eggersmith, City of Clearwater, the police department there.
Jim Reiser.
Good morning, everybody. Jim Reiser, District 7 Law Enforcement Liaison.
Joan Rice.
Good morning, Joan Rice, Pinellas County Public Works.
Rick Adams.
Good morning, Rick Adams, Nation's Traffic Safety Schools and the Florida Providers for Traffic Safety.
John Raymond.
Good morning, John Raymond, Pinellas County Public Works.
Tina Russo.
Good morning, everyone. Tina Russo. I'm the new bike ped program manager for the safety office at D7.
Sheila Rainey.
Good morning. This is Sheila Rainey. I'm with Johns Hopkins All Children's Hospital, Florida Suncoast Safe Kids.
Autumn Westerman. Autumn Westerman is with Pinellas County Schools. Valerie Brookins, I don't believe I've called you.
Yeah, Valerie Brookins with Ford Pinellas.
Is there anyone else that is on the phone call that I've missed? Okay, Mark, I believe that is everyone to get started.
Awesome. Thank you, Lori. All right. Welcome, everyone. We'll start out with the approval of the February minutes. It was sent out. Just need somebody to approve it and then somebody to second it.
This Jim Reiser, I'll move to approve.
I second it.
Thank you both. All right, we'll start out with the committee report, starting with enforcement. I know we have St. Pete PD on the line. Do you guys have anything from last month that you'd like to share and anything coming up for this month?
Nothing too big. We're just doing our motorcycle operations and continuing to do our regular enforcement.
Perfect. Sergeant Negersmith with Clearwater.
Mark, how are you? We're still doing the HVE grant, working with we're also doing the ELEs. We just finished up a advanced traffic homicide over in Hillsborough County for a bunch of people there. We got some more training coming next month. in Castleberry. So if anybody wants to send some bodies out there and needs some training, that's the advanced traffic homicide. And then in May, we're going to be doing the recon. And then we're hosting another one in Clearwater, another recon in June. So if anybody's looking for those classes, we're offering that. That's it for us. We're just looking forward to spring break in the next couple of weeks.
I'm sure you're looking forward to it, Dan. All right, thank you. As far as Pinellas County Sheriff's Office, so the month of February, Tarpon Springs hosted the DRE school, which is stands for Drug Recognition Expert School. It's a 2-week school. There were 11 students in it from across the state. 2 of those students were local. One was from Pinellas Park Police Department, and another was from Clearwater Police Department. So they finished it up, and they should be, hopefully by next month, certified DRE. So Pinellas County gained 2 more. Kind of a light month. I know our units have been working the ELEE enforcement stuff, as well as our HVE grant as well. As far as for the month of March, it actually starts on Monday, but there's a radar later class being held at St. Petersburg College. It does still have some openings. They will do some sort of saturation patrol, more than likely on the 16th and more than likely on the 17th of this month for St. Patrick's Day DUI saturation patrol. And, like Dan said, for the law enforcement folks, there's a bunch of trust funded courses that are hosted locally. I think, Dan, you guys are also hosting the marijuana impaired driving detection for law enforcement.
Yeah, Nugent and I are teaching that. I think it's the middle of April. We're doing that. Yep.
Okay. And then I know we're hosting the EDR use of traffic reconstruction, both the level 1 and level 2 courses, and then there'll be more courses to come. So, for you law enforcement folks, take advantage of, the free and local training that we can get. That is all I have for Pinellas County. Was there anybody else from another law enforcement agency that kicked on?
I think Jim has his hand up, Jim Reiser.
Yep, Jim, I was just gonna call on you next. So go ahead, buddy.
Hey, Lieutenant, I appreciate that. Just for the agencies online, hopefully you got your grant submitted for fiscal year 26. If there was a problem, if you need me to track any of that for you, or I'm not informed of whether or not you applied for a grant. I think the only one I was a little unclear of was St. Pete. Wasn't sure if they put in for a DUI grant. Sergeant Andrews, can you comment on that real quick?
Yeah, after taking a look at it, our chain of command decided not to go for the DUI grant.
Okay. All right. If there's anything I can do to assist that going into the subsequent years, let me know. I'll be more than happy if we need to make a case there for you. I know sometimes that can be a tall order to fill with chain of command sometimes, and I appreciate the agencies that did put in for the new grants. The safety challenge reporting is open right now for all the agencies. I've been sending out links on that. You're probably going to get quite a few of those in the next few weeks. But if you need assistance with stats, please get with me directly. I have all the links attached to the information I'm going to be sending out for DHSMV and then Signal 4 Analytics to get your stats for that. And also, we got several initiatives coming up over the next couple of months, one of them being Click It or Ticket, and then we're going to have some drive sober activity. So please, if you need any safety materials related to that stuff, let me know. I'll get it to your agencies. Especially with Click It or Ticket, that's coming up in May. We're already in March, believe it or not, this year. The year seems to be flying by really fast. And then I believe I sent out all the IPTM training info that I had that was updated. So I'm going to try and update that on a monthly basis and make sure it's disseminated to everybody. If there's anybody on the mailing list that I missed, please let me know and I'll add them to it. And I'll yield back to you, Lieutenant, at this time.
Thank you, Jim. Also, for the law enforcement folks, you should have gotten an email from Larry Coggins, the executive director for MAD. The nominations for the yearly MAD Florida Law Enforcement Recognition and Training opened up. That will be open until May 15th, so you can submit There are numerous different topics. You can nominate somebody for an award, and it's a 2-day event, typically end of July in Fort Myers now, where there'll be some training provided. I think I'm teaching a course there as well, and it'll give recognition to the hard work that your folks have been doing throughout the year of 2024. All right, if there's nobody else from enforcement, we'll move on to engineering. Anyone with engineering have anything?
Hey, good morning. Pinellas County, we don't, but thank you.
Thank you, John. Anybody else?
We don't have anything on the engineering side at FDOT either.
Okay. Brenton, got anything for Ped Bike?
Too much. We did have our big Bike Your City event last Saturday, so that was pretty well attended. It was close to 100. I believe there was about 75 riders and a few other people that were there. And thank you to Pinellas Park PD for helping direct traffic during that ride. Other than that, we are wrapping up Ely at the end of the month, and so we'll have be asking for your final stats and orders. And then I think the only other thing is the Walk Like Mad as in Hillsborough at USF campus, but it is a district-wide event on Friday, March 28th.
All right, thank you, Brenton. Yeah, I forgot to mention that I unfortunately won't be able to go to that, but I'll be attending. I think it's their 3rd annual Mad Gala at SeaWorld on March 29th. It's a benefit, obviously, for Mad, and again, spreading more awareness over there. So I'll be in attendance for that as well. Does anybody have anything for committee reports before I move on to old business?
I can just also add that we'll be out Saturday the 15th. City of Dunedin's holding an event to celebrate Bike Month. So we'll be out there. It's at the Leary White Pavilion right off of the Pinellas Trail. So we'll have some staff out there with them.
Good morning. This is Sheila Rainey. I have some bike ped information.
Go ahead.
Okay, on March 18th, we are going to be training the crossing guards at Clearwater Police Department. Tina and Casey and I will be there to assist them. And then back on the 20th of February, we went to Plato Academy in Clearwater, and we trained 190 students on bike ped safety, and we distributed 70 helmets. That was in response to a child injury on their campus. So we were able to give out safety bags with lights and a lot of education. And that's all I have right now. Thank you.
All right. Anybody else before I move on? All righty. We'll move on to old business.
Did Mark cut out, or is it just me?
Seems like we can't hear him.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
All right. Yeah. Thankfully, I'll be getting a brand new laptop at the end of this month, so won't be running into these issues. All right. So for the school buses, again, throughout the school year, we're going to just keep that on there. Probably a permanent fixture on the problem locations list. Does anybody have any specific areas that they've been getting numerous complaints where we can kind of specifically target those areas?
Autumn said Oak Grove Middle School.
Old Grove Middle School.
Oak
Okay.
Grove. Yeah.
Oak Grove. I'll let our folks know when we get some extra enforcement out there. And then the next one, I think, again, we don't really have any update on this unless somebody does.
No new update.
All righty. I will turn it over now to Rashid with HSIP.
Good morning
Are there,
again. Mhm.
are there any updates on the Fifth Avenue North and 8th Street North?
Was St. Pete Engineering on the line? Yeah, we can come back to it next month. I know they were waiting a couple of months to pull some data to see if it was helping any. I know he said it seemed like that there haven't been any reported crashes since it's changed. And actually, you know what I do want to do, since we were talking about the school buses, and might as well just drop it in now. So Hillsborough and Manatee started their school zone speed camera program. I don't know if anybody had seen the news. It was either yesterday or the day before, but Manatee is actually getting rid of the program. According to the article on Bay News 9, and last year in their deployment of it, they logged over 55,000 violations. Of those 55,000, just over 22,000 paid the violation fine. It didn't say what the reasoning was that why the county commission voted to get rid of it. I could tell you just from being a resident in Manatee County, some people were getting frustrated with, apparently there was no clear, I guess, direction on the times that the cameras were enforcing it. There was one lady, she received 4 tickets in one day, and it was because she was driving, down the road when school was in session, and not when the lights were flashing, is when she got the ticket. So I think, in my opinion, that's probably why Manatee probably made that decision to get rid of it. Again, it didn't seem like there was any clear direction on what the enforcement times were. And I could see how it could be kind of confusing for citizens when, it has flashing lights for 20 miles an hour. And when the lights are off, then you resume the normal speed. And as you do the normal speed, you're getting a citation for it. That was my understanding of it. I don't know if anybody else has any information on that or anything that Hillsborough is doing differently, because they still have their program. But I'll open it up to you guys. Go ahead, Jim.
Yeah, I can speak a little bit to that. Does everybody hear me okay? I've been having problems with this mic.
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay. All right, perfect. Yeah, that was a kind of a shock. So yeah, Manatee County got a tremendous amount of public backlash. And exactly what you said about the clarity of when these cameras were active. That's happened in other parts of the state, but we're hearing about it here because it's local in the Tampa Bay area. They are allowed to be active for violations over 10 miles per hour when school's in session, not just when the flashers are active. The flashers, it's like the red light cameras. It issues an administrative violation, doesn't affect your driver's license, and then if you don't pay that, it converts to a uniform traffic citation, and then the enhanced penalty for the violations when the flashers are active can come into play. Long story short, county commission down there got a lot of complaints on it. There's some question, and I don't want to throw the vendor under the bus, but just being on Still Reserve with Tampa Police Department, and there's been a lot of questions of why that agency's been so slow to implement. The vendors have specific responsibilities under the RFP to do that. There's some questions whether or not that was done, whether the press releases were done to the public. The signage was adequate. There's a lot of things that went into that. County Commission peeled it back to active flashing time. And then on Tuesday, they pretty much said they got a motion to disband the program, and they did. So it's something that can be a lessons learned for agencies that are going to implement those programs. But just for the people in the group that are advocates for that, it has to be a methodical, slow process if you're going to implement these cameras. you have to make sure you're meeting the statute requirements. And there are specific things in the statute that have to be done. I know that people are like, oh, let's get the cameras in all the school zones. Great. It's not that simple. It takes a while to deploy and to do it correctly, because if you do it in your jurisdiction and you don't do it right, you're going to end up where Manatee County's at now. And I think they decided that in totality, we're going to suspend the program and do away with it. So, will it come back? I don't know, but this is an interesting case around the state, and I'm sure a lot of people are going to watch it. So hopefully we'll see what happens with the rest of the programs. I have not heard anything bad about Hillsboro's programs, including the cameras on the school bus arms themselves. From what I understand, everything's going pretty smooth over there, but I don't think they have a widespread rollout yet. They only have a few of the cameras active, and they're doing that to make sure the integrity of the program is where it needs to be, probably before it expands. So I'll yield back at this time.
Yeah, Jim, you're absolutely right as far as the slow implementation of it. And again, I don't know what their program was. I didn't see anything. And honestly, the article I read on Bay News 9 was very brief. But, as far as, implementing something like that, you would start a period where you would do a PSA saying, hey, these cameras are installed for this next month. Any violations will be considered warnings. And then when the warnings are sent out, stuff like that. So, slowly implement it so you don't catch these people off guard or have any miscommunication as to when it's being enforced and so forth. So, yeah, it'll be interesting to see if they get it back and what changes they make. And, as far as the school bus cameras, those are kind of no-brainers because, as long as the bus driver's doing the right thing, they're turning the yellow lights on, before making the stop signs are out and they get them, it's more likely just going to be the driver defending if he or she was driving or not. So yeah, we'll keep updated on that again, as far as those cameras and the school bus cameras for Pinellas County. I'm letting the new captain kind of settle in, but this is going to definitely throw a wrench in it for our command staff to want to go towards it, unless there's, obviously we'll probably have to reach out to Hillsborough County to see what they did, since their program seems to be running okay right now and not having any issues. Go ahead.
Yeah, so I just wanted to add, the Ford Pinellas board did request a presentation from the school district. And so last January they came regarding their stance on stop arm cameras. And essentially they were told that they're not considering it right now, and that illegal bus passing is not an issue in Pinellas County, which no one really agreed with. So
I'm sure if Joe Camaro was still on with us, he would definitely disagree with that.
Yes. And so, you can report through the school, but it seems like people are getting frustrated with that. But also, it appears we had our school transportation safety committee yesterday, and they did make a motion to request that Ford Pinellas reach out to the district and have them participate in that annual survey that's done, because it appears last year they did not participate, but a staff member thought they did. So we're going to find out for sure. But at least to recognize, because I went back and looked at previous data, and the numbers match like Hillsborough basically when they were participating. So it's like every single bus was passed illegally 1.7 times a day. So this is just a 1 day snapshot, but every single bus it averaged out to just under, twice a day. So clearly there is an issue. I know we've been getting feedback, comments, oh, the sheriff won't participate, but that was another recommendation that we'll see if it goes through to our board, to have someone from sheriff's department give a presentation to, kind of clarify that. So, and maybe if anyone has a contact, I think it might be a good idea for our in-person meeting. If someone from Hillsborough could come and share with us, I think it would be great to hear their side of the story and what has been working and to get that insight. So that's just my 2 cents on that. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. And Mr. Hartman, I saw your comment on there. I definitely agree with that. That's a lot of the complaints that I saw, on like community message boards, was that this was just a big money making thing and it really had nothing to do with safety. But again, when if you have a program that's not clear and people are getting cited 4 or 5 times a day, when there's no clear understanding of when the enforcement times are. I can kind of understand that. So
Yeah, they didn't provide any details, so I was just surprised, but it sounds like it's might be just just one segment of the opponents. Thank you.
yeah, no problem.
And they also released the report, because you got to report into motor vehicles. So that report is available. It came out December 24, but so at that point, Hillsborough, it was only 3 months. I was just looking at the bus stop arms in this case, but in the first 3 months, they issued 26,000 tickets worth more than 5.8 million. And they also show in there, I don't have it offhand, but the number of people that actually dispute it. So it wasn't that high. So
yeah, it's like I said before, it's typically hard to dispute because even before, when we had the red light cameras, it was on the responsibility of the registered owner of the vehicle to basically prove that you weren't the driver of the vehicle that day. You had to produce somebody that was driving your car unless your car was stolen. But some of those, those are difficult to try to defend. Again, and there's some other, one-offs. The driver didn't put the warning lights out, ahead of time. The stop signs weren't out, whatever the case may be. But yeah, I think once Hillsborough's got a good grasp on it, we could probably reach out to somebody over there to put together a presentation and see what their implementation program was. The first couple of months, how it went, and then overall, maybe a year later, what went good, what went bad, and what did they do to fix the bad. So, all right. Mashi, did you already go? I'm sorry, I got too long with you.
Not yet, but I just have a short couple of sentences.
It's all you.
Okay. So again, thank you for the applications that you have submitted. I'm working with Bill Riha on reviewing the HSIP applications and getting final codes. Sometimes you have to revise these codes, so they take longer. And just a reminder, include as much information in the application as possible. I'm always available before you're submitting the application to talk to help you put the application in, and that any local agency intending to submit projects for the safety funding under the Highway Safety Improvement Program are required to attend at least 4 CTST meetings and make a presentation in one of the meetings. And that's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you, Mashid. Does anybody have any questions or anything to add?
I can just add that there's a little bit of progress on a couple of the pending ones we have for Pinellas County. So City of St. Pete had a request in for some zipper style delineators, I think for First Street, I want to say, which has been approved and is moving through. There's also a request from the City of Newport Richey for an RRFB that has been approved and should be proceeding shortly. And then City of Dunedin had a request in for some speed feedback signs. I believe there's still just some ongoing communication there, clarifying some final points before a final decision is made on that one.
I think that's Pinellas County, I think. The speed feedback signs, maybe. Anyway.
Maybe so.
John? Yeah. Yeah, John was asking. I'll double check that.
All right. Anybody else have anything before we move on to the fatal map? All right. So this time last year, there were a total of 22 crashes with a total of 24 fatals. When this was sent to me at the end of last month, we were at a total of 17 crashes and 18 fatals. And unfortunately, I hate to say, last weekend was not a good weekend in Pinellas. I was working that weekend, and I think we had 3 fatals in one night. So that number is definitely going to increase. So as far as law enforcement, keep doing what you're doing as far as, trying to prevent some of these crashes. And, my goal since I've been here is try to be under 100 for the year. So hopefully we can get to it this year. We've been close a couple of times. Anybody have any questions about the map? All righty. We'll open it up to you, Lori.
We'll just put it in project class. Sounds good. Let me get my presentation ready. Second. Okay. Does everyone see my screen? See the presentation?
Yep, we got it.
Perfect. Okay, so hello everyone. My name is Lori Palayo with JMT, and today I will be discussing the key differences between the mid-block pedestrian signal, also known as an MPS, and a pedestrian hybrid beacon, also known as a PHB. So both MPSs and PHBs serve the same purpose but have operational differences. They both enhance pedestrian safety at mid-block crossings by stopping traffic when activated, but each use different signal head configurations. So on the top is a PHB, and then on the bottom is an MPS. So there are existing MPSs in Pinellas County on 4th Street. FDOT District 7 is developing a PSA for these crossings. Here's the draft video of the MPS PSA.
The Florida Department of Transportation District 7 has installed mid-block pedestrian signals at 9 locations along US 92 or 4th Street as part of the median modification improvements from 30th Avenue North to 94th Avenue North in St. Petersburg. A mid-block pedestrian signal, or MPS, is a traffic control device that functions similarly to a regular traffic signal at a mid-block crossing location. It is intended to ensure the safety of all roadway users at pedestrian crossings. How to use the MPS properly. Pedestrians and bicyclists. To activate the pedestrian signal, press the button upon arriving at the intersection and wait to cross. Ensure that the walk signal is illuminated before stepping onto the crosswalk, and carefully look to see that all vehicles have come to a complete stop behind the designated stop line. As you cross, a countdown timer will display how much time remains for crossing. If you arrive while the countdown is already in progress, do not cross. Instead, press the button to start a new cycle and wait for the next walk signal. Drivers. Drivers should remain attentive to the traffic signal. A green light indicates that you may proceed as usual. If the signal turns red, stop completely at the stop bar. When the signal flashes, bring your vehicle to a full stop, look both ways, and proceed carefully only when the crossing is clear of pedestrians.
Okay, so it is important to note that MPSs are still under experimentation. The Traffic Engineering Manual TEM 5.2.3 states that an MPS is a hybrid pedestrian actuated or bicyclist actuated traffic control device that alternately directs traffic to stop and flashes a red indication during the pedestrian clearance interval. This traffic control device is under FHWA's MUTCD request to experiment process. So the FDOT has a request to experiment, and local agencies will need to get the request to experiment with the FHWA if they want to add an MPS on their roadways. So here's an example of a pedestrian hybrid beacon. This video is a PSA by Alert Today, Alive Tomorrow.
In Florida, we all expect to get to our destination safely, no matter how we travel. The Department of Transportation is striving to keep people who walk safe by adding pedestrian hybrid beacons in areas with high pedestrian traffic. At the crosswalk, press the button to activate the beacon. The beacon will turn yellow, then change to red, requiring drivers to stop. Once the pedestrian has safely crossed, the beacon will flash red, then go blank, alerting to drivers they may proceed. Alert Today, Alive Tomorrow.
So additional PHB criteria can be found in TEM 5.2, including pedestrian count information, contact classification, etc.
In Florida, we all...
So what are the key differences between an MPS and a PHB? Your MPSs are on the left side of the screen, and then your PHBs on the right. So starting with signal type, MPSs have a standard red, yellow, green indication similar to a traffic signal. And PHBs have a cluster signal head configuration with two red indications above a single yellow indication. In terms of visibility, MPSs, they rest on green until activated by a pedestrian, whereas PHBs rest in the dark phase until activated by a pedestrian. For operation, MPSs, once activated, cycles through a steady yellow phase, a steady red phase, and a flashing red indication. Your flashing red indication is the pedestrian clearance interval, where you could only proceed when no pedestrians are in the crosswalk. PHBs, once activated, cycles through a flashing yellow phase, a steady yellow, a steady red, and a wig-wag red when it flashes back and forth on the top of the cluster. And that is also your pedestrian clearance interval, where you should stop and proceed with caution if clear of pedestrian and bicyclists. So here's a table summary of the things I just discussed. In terms of similarities, both MPSs and PHBs reduce unnecessary stops by being only pedestrian activated, and both allow traffic to proceed on flashing red once pedestrians are clear. So for state roads, if a corridor has an existing PHB, FDOT will add a new PHB for corridor uniformity to not cause confusion. If not, they consider an MPS on that new roadway. For local roads, again, local agencies need a request to experiment an RTE with the FHWA if they want to add a mid-block pedestrian signal on their roadways. So here's the information to fill out a request to experiment for an MPS. You must send it electronically to MUTCD official request at dot.gov. The MUTCD states that a successful experiment is one where the research results show that the public understands the new device or application. The device or application generally performs as intended, and the device does not cause adverse conditions. The experimenter must evaluate conditions both before and after installation of the experimental device and describe the measurements of effectiveness of the safety and operational benefits, such as better visibility or reduced congestion. So how do MPSs and PHBs reduce crashes? So data was taken from an NCHRP research report 1030 on safety at mid-block pedestrian signals in 2023. The report compared an NCHRP study with an Arizona DOT study. So the table shown are the crash reduction factors from the study. So as you could see, for all crashes, there's a greater crash reduction factor for MPSs compared to PHBs. For pedestrian crashes, they're about the same at 45%. Crash reduction, and for rear end crashes, there's a slightly better benefit with MPS crash reductions than PHBs. So overall, they're the same, but the MPSs show a slightly better crash reduction per the NCHRP report. So in FDOT District 7, there are 10 existing MPS locations and 3 planned MPS locations. So the existing locations are in green, and they include various locations along 4th Street and the Pinellas Bayway. And some planned locations in blue include Fowler Avenue at 14th Street, Fowler Avenue at Elmer Street, and Fowler Avenue at 52nd Street. And then outside of District 7, there's also 20 existing mid-block pedestrian signal locations. In this photo here, it shows an MPS that was installed at 4th Street and 75th Avenue. So here are some resources and some of the things I just discussed, including the MUTCD request to experiment, walk, bike, drive, mid-block pedestrian signals that show your PSA information, a TRB paper on MPS guidance, and then the NCHRP report for the crash reduction factors. And that is everything I got.
Thanks, Lori. Great presentation. Anybody have any questions? I know somebody asked in the chat.
Okay. Can you please send? Yes, for sure. I'll send that over to you. And I think I saw your email for the fatal crash map as well. So I'll send those both over to you.
Anybody else have any questions regarding those? I can tell you, so the one I encounter is at 34th Street, just south of 54th Ave. I can tell you when that first went in, it definitely got the driver's attention. And I don't want to say a little bit of confusion, but a little bit of when the light turns red, they obviously stop. But when the light's blinking red, what do? And I think the fact that they were kind of caught off guard by that and not knowing what to do definitely brought awareness to, letting the pedestrians cross safely. So that's my take on it from what I've seen, having driven through that area numerous times. But
have you seen any like near misses or anything?
I haven't seen any near misses, but again, I teach the pedestrian bicycle traffic crash investigations through IPTM. And, a lot of the things I focus on when teaching that is both driver and pedestrian behavior, because a lot of pedestrians, they get frustrated because, yes, they're at a crosswalk. Technically, they have the right of way. So they feel, yep, I hit the button, the lights go, I have the roadway, and then they'll start walking and that car better stop. Well, if that car doesn't stop, you typically don't win that battle. So I probably wouldn't be gambling on that. And the same thing with drivers, they're in a hurry, they're trying to get somewhere, they don't want to slow down. So if we could change that, I think that will, help along with, this technology of, MPSs and the mid-block crossing and all that stuff. So, but as far as me seeing any near misses, no, I have not.
Okay. Thank you. I think Eric had his hand up. Did you have something to add, Eric?
Sorry, no, just an accident.
Oh, cool.
All right. Does anybody else have anything regarding these two presentations? All righty. Does anybody else have anything before we wrap it up today? Actually, I do just have one thing, Lori. Did we, for the mega meeting, did we figure out a location where that's going to be held?
Eric, is that something we should announce yet, or?
Not yet. We are looking at a location in Citrus this year around, but nothing is set in stone.
Okay. Yeah, just wondering, because I know, there were talks about it being in Pinellas, so.
Yeah, we were kind of looking at different counties, try to get a feel of where we should have it, but we figured we should maybe do Citrus this go around. Try to get some of the northern counties in there.
Yeah, that'll be a drive, but new locations are always good, so I'm good with that too. So does anybody have anything before we adjourn today?
Hey, Mark, I got something real quick.
Go ahead, Matt.
It's Blaine.
Do you sound like Matt Belmonte, but go ahead.
So I noticed on 19, basically from 580 to Curlew, from my understanding, it's 45 through there. I was not aware of this. My recruit, kudos to him, he actually caught it, but there's not very good signage, especially on the southbound side of that construction zone where it goes to 45. It just kind of starts, the signs kind of start midway between Curlew and 580. If we could look at that and maybe get some better signage through there, mostly on the southbound side.
Yeah, we can definitely talk to some folks with our traffic operations and see if they could maybe just do a TSR for that. You said it was US 19 whereabouts?
Yeah. So when you're going north on 19 and you're approaching the overpass at 580, there's like one sign on the east side of the road that just kind of says 45. It's kind of in a bad spot. There's like, from what I could tell, there's no signs that say reduce speed ahead or anything like that. And then as you're, going north, like past Republic, approaching Curlew, there's a sign or two there. But then southbound, I didn't see anything from Curlew until you get like midway down to 580. There's like one sign for 45. So it's just
Yeah, Eric.
unclear.
Yeah, Eric, there is literally only one sign southbound, and Blaine is right. It's in a bad position, and it's kind of canted, so it's hard for people to see.
All right, let me pass that along now and put it on their radar and see if there's anything we can't do.
Thanks,
Should I add
Eric.
that? Should I add that to the problem locations, or is it just going to be like a quick turnaround?
Let's wait and see.
I don't think.
Yeah,
I
I'll
don't
just
think
check with them.
we need to add it. It's just we just need the signage there so we can enforce it on our end. And if they take it to court, they can't say, well, there was no signage there. Well, no, we got plenty of signs here. So.
I did also have.
Else? Go ahead.
Yeah, I did also have one other thing. We had a request. This is related to US 19, just north of Gulf to Bay, so just west of the Courtney Campbell Causeway, related to debris along the side of the road from commercial vehicles not securing their load and from littering as well, but I think mainly from commercial vehicles. This was a citizen reached out to a county commissioner who then reached out to our Pinellas operations group, who then reached out to us to see if there was a possibility. They looked at if there was any signage they could do or anything, but it seems like it might wind up being more of an enforcement issue than anything. So if you have y'all seen anything like that along that stretch of US 19?
Eric, I'm on that stretch of 19 all the time. I don't see it. It's and it was mainly during right after the hurricane when debris was flying all over the place. That's when we saw a lot of it, but I believe they use street sweepers on that area to clean the roadways. So I'm not sure where that problem is.
And that's kind of what the Pinellas operations folks communicated to the citizen, was that there is regular cleaning going on US 19 and that there probably was a higher amount of debris post-hurricane. But we thought we'd check just to see. So maybe just keep your eye out, I guess, if you see any, dump trucks carrying gravel without their load secured.
We're on 19 all the time, so I'll pay more attention to it, but we'll take a look at it. And I'm going to be working with the FHP, their CVU unit anyway, so we're going to bring them in and to do some details with that as well.
Okay, awesome. And it looks like you guys are about to receive an email from George Edmiston on the same topic as well.
I think I did receive an email on it already, so we're going to look into it and see what needs to be done.
Alrighty, perfect. I appreciate that.
You're welcome.
Yeah, Eric, same. I'm on 19 pretty much, most of the nights, and I don't see, debris that stands out, other than, dirt and stuff like that. But yeah, we'll definitely keep an eye out on for it. And Dan, that's good that you're bringing in the commercial troopers, because they definitely tend to get those commercial drivers in check, when they're slacking. So
it's usually a good day when they come in for a visit. So they don't know. The trucks,
and the word gets out pretty quickly once they're there doing enforcement.
Oh, exactly. So.
All right. Anybody have anything else? All righty. So our next meeting will be virtual, April 3rd. I hope all of you guys have a safe St. Patrick's Day, and we will see you next month.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, everybody.
Thank
Bye,
you.
guys.
Bye.